Good afternoon, everybody. Welcome back to another edition of Silver and Black today, an Odyssey Sports original podcast. Also heard on the radio in Las Vegas on 101.5 KDON and 840 KXNT. Video brought to you, including this live stream, our pregame show. Hope you're joining me over some lunch. If you're on the West Coast, if you're on the East Coast, tea time, coffee break, whatever it is, Raider Nation's getting excited for tonight's game. But the video brought to you by our good friends at Sleeper Picks. I'll tell you about them later, along with our buddies at Hog Media. So thanks to them for bringing the video. But we are here talking Raiders football. Big game tonight as the Chargers roll into Las Vegas. The Raiders home opener in front of Raider Nation, in front of the new black hole, in front of a bunch of crazies, silver and black folks getting out there for the game. About 7 hours until kickoff. We appreciate you being with us. I am your host, Scott Gulbransen. Mo Moten got pulled away on assignment. He won't be here today, but we appreciate you guys joining us here. We got a lot to talk about. We're going to talk about, first of all, this game, what it means. Second segment, we're going to get into what the Raiders need to do in order to come out on top in this pivotal early season matchup. And then we got some phone calls. Yes, of course. We had some people call in before the show, and we want to get their messages out there. What are they feeling? How are they feeling about the Raiders tonight against the Chargers? Right? Recent history against the Chargers, not great, except, of course, the 60-plus point whooping they put on them a couple years ago, got Brandon Staley and Tom Telesco fired in Los Angeles. But anyway, we're going to do that. And a reminder, please subscribe to the show wherever you get your audio. If you listen on Spotify, if you listen on Apple, wherever you get it, look for Silver and Black today. Don't forget to rate and review. We certainly appreciate that as always. And if you're watching us on video, as we are live right now, noon Pacific, 3 p.m. Eastern time, you're joining me on my lunch break, right? We're on our lunch break together talking Raider football in this pregame show. And we're going to talk about what's going on with this team and what to expect. I know everybody's amped up. I've been getting DMs all weekend from people, from listeners telling me how much they're just pumped up for this game. And I want to talk through that because, listen, what happened yesterday? What's the next thing best from a Raider win, right? It's a Chiefs loss or a Broncos loss or a Chargers loss, AFC West. But the Chiefs 0-2 for the first time since 2014. Of course, if you watch that game, it was a rematch of the Super Bowl. They go down to the Eagles and did not look very impressive. Kind of a defensive battle there as well. But this is another reason why tonight's game between the Raiders and the Chargers is really a big deal because already, yes, it's early. I know it's only week 2. But guess what? Whoever wins this game is 2-0 in the division, is 2 games up on the Chiefs already. Long season. I know what you're saying. 16 more weeks to go. Yes. But to go up 2-0 in a division where the Chiefs have reigned supreme, the Chargers haven't won a division title since 2009. The Raiders have not won a division title since 2002. Both these teams have had long droughts there. And to have the Chiefs down 0-2, and then, the Broncos, the Donkeys, as you like to call them, they lost as well. Want to say also, I'm watching the chat. True Raider, happy birthday to Pete Carroll. Yes, his birthday today as well. So there you go. Gotta like it. It all seems to be wrapping up nicely for the Raiders, doesn't it? But we're going to get into it. And this one is important because I'll tell you that those 2 losses, the Broncos yesterday go to 1-1. Chiefs go to 0-2. Chargers come in at 1-0. With those droughts, this game is big. It's for supremacy in the AFC West. Yes, things can change quickly. I understand that. But whoever wins this game tonight is going to come out of it with an incredible amount of momentum, an incredible amount of confidence, and, again, a 2-game lead on the Chiefs. The Chiefs who've owned the division. Let's face it, right? So that's why it's a big deal. But going into this game, there's some question marks on both sides. For the Raiders, we're still waiting on Brock Bowers. The indication is he will play, but how effective will he be? Will he be 100%? Probably not. How much will he be used? And if they don't play him, it'll probably be a game time decision. They're not going to let the Chargers know in advance. But either way, Brock Bowers, and I'm reading here from Chip Kelly, talked about how he is an integral part of their offense. Yes, of course. When you're the best player on the field from an offensive standpoint, at least for the Raiders right now, in Brock Bowers, you want him out there. Now, you got no slouch at number 2, which is Michael Mayer. So if Bowers isn't 100%, the point is if he can get on the field, to me, that's the biggest thing. Yes, you want to see Brock go out there and do really well. Receptions, yards, touchdown, you name it, right? And you want him healthy, number 1. But I will tell you this, just having him on the field, even if he's 50%, they have to account for him. So that leaves Michael Mayer open. That gives the Raiders more opportunity to take advantage of, because the Chargers are going to have to account for where Brock Bowers is on the field at all times if he's on the field. That's why getting him out there, even if he's not 100%, even if he only gets 1 or 2 catches or none, but he's just out there running through, then guess what? It makes the Chargers have to play for that position and for Brock Bowers, the player. That makes it very interesting for the Raiders. So you look at that and you say, okay, that's great. Now, I will say this, Michael Mayer, we talked about that. I think he can step up in that role if he needs to. Then you also have Ian Thomas. I know you're saying Ian Thomas. Yeah, Ian Thomas, no slouch at tight end either. So if Ian Thomas has to play more in that 12, 13 sets, then guess what? Then you still have the ability to get the ball out to the tight ends. Then, of course, you have Ashton Jeanty. We'll get into that in a minute. But I'm wanting to know how you guys feel. How do you feel about tonight's game? I know you're all pumped up, but what does it tell you where this team is at based on the Patriots win? A nice win on the road. First half was dicey. We all talked about this. Mo and I talked about this on the last show. It was dicey, but the adjustments at halftime, a beautiful thing to see. The defense, its increased intensity and ability to tackle in the second half. The coverage, that defensive backfield. Caillou Blue Kelly, impressed. Isaiah Palomalo, impressed, right? You saw guys out there. Jeremy Chin, of course. Those guys all did well in that second half. Now they're going to face a bigger challenge. Justin Herbert. I know Justin Herbert, overrated. I get it. I understand what you're saying. I'm not arguing with that. But Justin Herbert had perhaps one of his best games as a pro. If you look back at week number 1, 318 yards, 3 touchdowns, 8 different receivers. He made quicker decisions. The offense looked more dynamic for the Chargers versus last year. So Justin Herbert's going to come to play. Obviously, it's a big rivalry game. So he's going to be ready to go. Then you look at their receiving core on the Chargers side. Quentin Johnston finally looks like he's living up to what people thought he might be in the NFL. He's not dropping the ball. He has 79 yards and 2 touchdowns against Kansas City in week 1. Keenan Allen, the old man, is back. Not the same as he used to be, but he's still a touchdown, 68 yards, 7 catches. You still got to account for him. And then Ladd McConkey, the kind of guy that kind of gives you nightmares sometimes. He's one of those guys. He had 74 yards on 6 receptions, okay? And here's the thing. The Chargers have the ability to overwhelm you because of that. Are the Raiders up to that task? That's going to be the big question. And I do think that if they are, it's going to send a big message, right? Because you're going to go out against a division rival, against a team that looks to be much better offensively, a team that's pretty good on defense as well. And if you beat them, I don't care if it's at home or on the road. At home, obviously, it's great because the Raiders get to do it in front of their home crowd. That is going to be a big statement. But the Chargers are not going to be a pushover. It's a massive test. This is a massive test early on for this Raiders team. I think you're going to get – I'm not saying if the Raiders don't win this game, it's not the end of the world, right? You don't want to win. You don't want to lose those games in the division. And the Raiders would like to go up 2 games on the Chiefs, I'm sure. But this is a big first test to see where this team is at. Perhaps they're better than I think they am. Mo picked them 7 wins. I picked them 8 wins. They win tonight, I might change my mind a little bit. Now, again, it's all about consistency in the NFL, right, folks? You have to be able to win week in, week out. You're not going to win all of them. But you need to be able to go out there when it's a big-time stage, again, Monday Night Football, and be able to do that. And that's what they have to do. They have to go out and they have to show that they can get it done on national TV against a better foe than New England, let's face it, of course. And that Charger defense, that's another thing I want to talk about, which is they led the NFL in scoring last year, scoring defense-wise. They have Jesse Minter there now with his system. It's a different system, so the Raiders are going to see a much better defense. They make you earn every yard. Now, that's not a bad thing for the Raiders because what does Pete Carroll want to do? Pete Carroll wants to run Ashton Jeanty and control the ball, okay? He wants Geno to protect the ball. He wants Geno to throw the ball. He wants to spread it around, and that's exactly what they need to do. And if they do that, things can work out good. I just see this game, and we'll get to a prediction at the end, but I see this game being just a grind out game. Old school. I don't think it's going to be high scoring, old school AFC West, but I do think it's going to be old school football. I think it's going to be a lot of smash mouth. You see a lot of Marion Hampton, the running back for the Chargers, of course, came out last year or came out in this past draft. Kid I really like, good player. And then you're going to see Ashton Genty. And then you're going to see these quarterbacks flinging the ball as well. Two good quarterbacks facing off against one another is also great as well. Dominique saying hello out there in the chat. Jim, how are you, man? I'm looking also George, Ron, Willie's in there, Raider Paul, True Raider, as we talked about. AJ DeMello, my man, is there too, the resident comedian, True Raider. Swag Jeff down in Tennessee. I appreciate you guys all watching in. But nonetheless, this is going to be a really interesting game, and I think it's going to be a tough one, a grind out, and we're going to have to see. But I want to hear what you have to say as well. Tell me what you think. How does this game go? How do you feel? I always trust the intuition of Raider Nation. Now, for those of you saying they're going to win the Super Bowl, I don't necessarily trust that one. But for this game, I want to hear what you have to say. Drop a comment in the chat. Let me know what you think is going to happen with tonight's game. But of course, kickoff at 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. for us Eastern time zone folk. Late night with the Raiders. And it's going to be an exciting, just electric atmosphere. I'm already seeing a lot of you sharing in social media. On the ground, you're in the game, or I should say you're in Vegas for the game, and you're sharing all that stuff. It looks to be a great time. And of course, you want to come away with that win. But we're going to talk about how the Raiders, what do they have to do? What specifically do the Raiders have to do and able to down the Chargers at home and go 2-0 in the division, up 2 games on the Kansas City Chiefs? We're going to talk about that in just a minute. First, I'm going to give you some sleeper picks. That's right, sleeper fantasy football, daily fantasy football. Of course, we're giving you some free money here, so pay attention. All right, now it's time for you to get my sleeper picks for the big game tonight in Las Vegas. That, of course, the Raiders and the Chargers we've been talking about in the first segment. We're going to get to more in the second segment with my keys to win. But first, we're going to talk about Sleeper. Yes, you can go and play Sleeper picks. Sleeper, of course, is the official sponsor of this video and of Silver and Black today all season long. And this is great. Daily fantasy, going in, putting your money where your mouth is behind your Raiders. Let's go in and do this today. I'm going to pick some players here for the Raiders tonight. The Brock Bowers thing, we don't know. Looks like he's going to play, but we don't know how effective he's going to be. So I'm going today, Ashton Genty, over a half touchdown. So does he score a touchdown tonight? I think yes. So I'm picking Ashton Genty over a half touchdown, so a touchdown. And then if you look at some of this, anytime touchdown, you look at rushing yards, 67.5, rushing 87.5. That Raiders offensive line is a big question mark for me. I'm not ready to go there with Ashton Genty as far as the yards go, but I do think he gets a touchdown. Now, let's go to Geno Smith. Geno Smith right now at 240.5 yards is the over-under for that one. And on this one, we have 75% of the people out there on Sleeper app picking to go over. I like that as well. I think Geno gets 250 plus tonight against the Chargers, even though they have a good defense. So I'm looking at that. So far we have Genty with a touchdown, a rushing touchdown, and then we have Geno Smith over 240.5 yards. I have to pick one other player from the other side. Now, I like this kid, Marion Hampton, excuse me for all of these out there who like to correct when I mispronounce names. I like this. They got him for 50-plus yards. That Raiders defense played so well the second half against the Patriots. I think they're going to come out and do it again. But I do think that Omarion Hampton is going to get over 50 yards. So I'm taking that one. And that's going to be my entry for today. On a $20 bet, I'm going to win $105.20, that is. So playing daily fantasy here. By the way, not only am I playing daily fantasy, and you can come and pick those as well, you get a $100 deposit match just for watching the show. That's right, a $100 deposit match on your first $100 deposit to play Sleeper Picks Daily Fantasy Football using the code GENTY. That's Genty, the guy I picked for tonight. Do that. Again, rules and regulations apply. Check out the Sleeper sleeperpicks.com website or the Sleeper Picks app for more details, available in 25 states to this point. But I'll tell you what, you get that free $100 with a $100 deposit. Come join me. Let me know what the picks are. Use the code GENTY for Sleeper Picks. Get in on the action on tonight's game with Daily Fantasy from Sleeper Picks, an official sponsor here at Silver and Black today. Go get them. All right, we're back now. We're talking keys to the Raiders winning on Monday Night Football against the Chargers tonight. This is Silver and Black today, an Odyssey Sports Original Podcast. Don't forget, subscribe wherever you get your audio. And where you're watching us on video, give us that thumbs up, subscribe, put that notifications bell on so you know whenever we have a new video. And it's always fun being live here, too, and watching the chat go on. I saw James over on Rumble watching us. MDM's there. He's telling me aloha to you. Send some macadamia. No, I'm just kidding you. I've lost weight now. I don't need to eat that chocolate. That's why I've lost weight. I've stayed away from chocolate. But nonetheless, you're back on the show. This segment, we're going to be talking about keys to winning. And I think that these are things that you guys know, but I want to get into the point of how the Raiders win this game. How do they come in and do this? Well, number one, I think, is explosive plays and offensive efficiency with Geno Smith. Now, we talk about the Raiders offense and those chunk plays you saw against New England, those big passes. That's exactly what they have to do again, I think, here with the Chargers, is they need to say, hey, whoa, get out there. Yes, grind the ball out, but also you need to take what the defense is giving you. And I think that explosive play battle between these two teams is going to be crucial to what happens as well. And also, if you look at Geno Smith, great debut, of course, last week in the Silver and Black. Everybody's got to be happy with that as well. But I look at that and I say, Geno Smith has to be efficient, just like he was last week. If he's Geno Smith, and we all know the numbers of Geno Smith playing indoors, favor him. It's his first game as a Raider at Allegiant Stadium in a full-time mode in a regular season game. So I think that's going to be a big one as well. He is going to be huge because, let's face it, if the Raiders are going to try to grind out the ball, they're going to do that. But if they don't, if they can't for some reason, if the Chargers defense is up to the task, Ashton Jeanty can't get going, or they're having trouble with the offensive line, that's the big question mark, then you're going to have to win on the arm of the quarterback. And finally, the Raiders have a guy, I think, who can do that. I think Geno Smith has proven that he is one of those guys who can go in and take the team on his back at quarterback and win a football game. So I'm not saying the Raiders won't run the ball well. I think they're going to. But for some reason, or at different points of the game, if they're unable to get that ground game going, and you really have to focus on the air, then Geno Smith becomes even more important there as well. But it all goes back to that offensive line too, right, folks? I mean, you have a situation up front where we didn't see everything we wanted to last week. We saw some real struggles. Jackson Powers-Johnson is now out with a concussion. Alex Kappa is now in. Of course, played at Cincinnati last year. Not a great endorsement with what happened in Cincinnati again yet yesterday. But I also think that this offensive line, it's going to be a work in progress until they get settled in. But we do know that with Kappa there, they have a chance to really, I think, maybe tighten up the run there, get a better run offense, create more holes for Ashton Jeanty, give him opportunities to get into space. You just got to give the guy the opportunity to get out there and go there. Hey, Martin, how are you, man? Hope you're well. Just taking a shout out real quick to everybody as well. Thanks for being with us here on Silver and Black today, a special live pregame edition on this Monday Night Football. Chargers heading to Las Vegas to play your Raiders in what's going to be a huge game, as we talked about at the beginning of the thing. The other thing, you get the offensive line and big plays, as I'm looking in my notes here after watching the film of both teams too, is the idea of physical running game. And we talked about this, obviously, in establishing the run and grinding it out. But also, I think the physicality up front, you could talk about every football game this way, right? Winning in the trenches, but these two teams don't like each other. These two teams are going to be very physical up front. Who beats each other up the best? Who can win the slugfest inside on offense and defense? To me, that's going to be a big one as well. They need to establish this credible running game that they haven't been able to do just yet. Are you with me? Yeah, you're with me, right? So that's got to be something they're able to do as well. And so I think explosive plays, efficiency on offense. The Raiders can't go 3 and out. They need to have drives. They need to keep the offense of Los Angeles off the field, and they need to be able to score touchdowns. Field goals are fine when you have to take them, but let's face it, you got to get in that red zone offense, and when you're in the red zone offense, you got to score. Second, Justin Herbert. Got to control him, right? I mean, you could say that about any good quarterback in the NFL. And with Justin Herbert coming off the game he had against the Chiefs, of course, they have to contain him. Patrick Graham talked about Justin Herbert getting better at making quick decisions. So he's getting better, which means the Raiders' opportunity to control what he does is going to be vital to whether or not they can come out and win this game and do so. So they have to be able to focus on that. The other thing is one-on-ones on this perimeter. I talked about the receiving core of the Chargers. Now, I'm not saying it's Jamar Chase and Justin Jefferson. No. But when you have those guys out there, when you have Quentin Jefferson and you still have people like Lad McConkey out there, these are guys that can get open, they can get to the ball. And I think that there's going to make an issue for the Raiders. So the Raiders got tested last week in the defensive backfield and played pretty dang good. The test this week is harder. This is going from, entry level algebra to maybe algebra 2. So you're going to see if these guys can keep up and win those on the perimeter, because that's what's going to happen. The Raiders, to me, the one thing I was most impressed with this defense, and this is good because, look, I think the Chargers are going to get yards. And I think they're going to run the ball well. Hampton is a good running back. The Chargers offensive line, despite losing Slater up front to injury, still pretty good. And so they can create there. And we saw that against the Chiefs. And I think that that's one of the things that you're going to see with this team. But the thing I was most impressed with the Raiders when the defense was the tackling. Remember the last few years? Now, I know it's Patrick Graham was a defensive coordinator too, but just the different, I think, focus on detail with tackling. You saw good open field tackles. You saw guys just wrapping up better than I think you've seen in the last few years with Patrick Graham. So that is a big deal. And with this Chargers team, they're going to have to do it. The other thing is on the defensive side, I know I've been talking a lot about offense, but you got to leverage that defensive versatility and the smarts you have up front for the Raiders. With Max Crosby, Tyree Wilson might have found his groove. He had a nice game against New England. They really need him to step up as well tonight to get out there. Then you go to the linebacking core of course, Jermaine Pratt. It looks like Landon Roberts is going to play. Guy's tough, man. He's getting ready to go out there. He's the green dot. They have to be able to make adjustments, and they have to spy in the backfield what Justin Herbert's going to do. But I think the defensive front is going to have a big game. They're going to have to not only put pressure. I'm not saying they got to rack up a ton of sacks, although it would be nice. They just need to contain Justin Herbert and put enough pressure on him where he does make bad decisions, right? And if that's the case, then it gives the opportunity for that defensive backfield to have a little bit of an easier night, and it just helps them out. I think this is what the Raiders need to do. But you need to establish that physical presence up front, which I think the Raiders are up to from a task perspective. Then we talked about defensive backs. Kyu Blu Kelly, want to see another game out of him. Isaiah Palomalo, of course, and you have Eric Stokes out there as well. So the Raiders were the 6th best in the NFL at stopping third downs in week 1. That's another thing we got to see them do again. You got to limit the opportunity for the Chargers to stay on offense. So to me, that's another key here, is to make sure that you keep the Chargers in 3rd and long and even in 3rd and short, that you don't give it up, that you're able to contain them, get them off the field as fast as you can. The other thing I want to mention too, we mentioned Pete Carroll's birthday, but Pete Carroll as well in primetime games. You guys know how good he is in primetime games. Have you seen this anywhere? Maybe you will tonight when you turn on the game, because I'm sure ESPN, but I got it right here. So if you look at this, Pete Carroll, he's 41-22-1 in primetime games as an NFL coach. He ranks 3rd in NFL history among coaches with at least 50 primetime wins. He also has a 16-9 record on Monday Night Football, ranking 9th all time. So he's the 9th winningest coach on Monday Night Football. The experience, I'm sure, in a game like this, the fact that he's gotten teams ready in the past for these big, high-profile Monday night national stage games is a big deal. And I think that those are opportunities for him to do it as well. So that's where I think the Raiders got to do it. They got to be efficient on offense. They got to establish the physicality, run the ball. And even if they're not gaining a ton of yards running the ball, they still got to stay with it. They got to stay with it to beat up that defensive line and do all that you can do there as well. And then on defense, just be physical, man. Let Max Crosby do his thing. Tyree Wilson, let's see a second in a row out of him. See a great game out of him. And then that defensive backfield, linebackers, Pratt, Roberts, those guys. And of course, Devin White, who had a great game as well in that defensive front, or I should say in the linebacker core. So that's going to be great as well to make sure that we do it. I certainly appreciate you guys spending lunch with me here and talking a bit of Radio Football, but those are my keys to the game. You have different ones. I see a lot of people dropping them in. I can't keep up with the chat here by myself, but I appreciate you guys all being there. Great points. You guys are all making in there, and we certainly appreciate you stopping in. I'm going to take my final break for the folks on the audio side. For the video side, stick where you're at, and we're going to get to a few phone calls from Raider Nation. So don't go anywhere. You're listening to Scott Gulbransen. This is Silver and Black Today. Don't go anywhere. All right, here we are back. The final segment, home stretch here on Silver and Black Today special pregame live edition for our video folks. For if you're listening to us on audio, hopefully you're listening to us on game day. Raiders, Chargers, Monday Night Football, 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 p.m. on the East Coast. Huge game. Massive implications. Whoever wins this game goes up 2 games on the defending AFC West champs, the Chiefs, and they will be the only undefeated team in the AFC West. I'm Scott Gulbransen, your host here on Silver and Black Today. My partner, Mo Moten, he is away on assignment today. He got a late assignment, so he couldn't make it. He will be back on Thursday to recap the game with us, so don't forget about that. Don't forget also, subscribe to the show wherever you get your audio. Also, rate and review. If you're watching us on video, subscribe, hit that thumbs up, and the notifications bell. All right, we're going to get to a few calls here before I let you guys finish your lunch and get back to work, as we're noon on the Pacific time zone, the lunch hour. What are you having for lunch? If you're having lunch, drop it in the comments. Let me know what you're having. I miss good Mexican food being away from California. Carne asada burrito, some machaca. Oh, man. If I was having lunch right now in my hometown of San Diego, that's what I would be having. Anyway, we're going to get to some phone calls. First up is, who do we got here? Daniel. Here's Daniel.
This is Daniel Freeman. Hey, Scott Mo. I just want to say the keys to victory against the Chargers is to open up holes fast and Genty and protect Geno Smith. Giving up 3 to 4 sacks is too much against the Patriots. We got to do better than that. Jackson Powers Johnson's got to play better, and DJ Glaze as well. As I've heard reports, they look good in camp or done good in practice. Just need to carry over the games, and I think the more the line plays together, it'll be better. And I'm thinking the dark horse candidate to break out, and he was showing it in the Patriot game, is Michael Mayer. I'm also a huge Notre Dame fan, so I'm just so excited to see him getting some targets. But I think it'd be nice to get him targets in the red zone, and that's why I want to have a big game. We also know what Bowers can do, but Michael Mayer can really shine when people are focusing a lot on Bowers. That, and I want to see a couple deep shots to Tucker, and like we did against the Patriots and Thornton, and give all those underneath passing slants to Jacoby Myers. But I'm hoping they're going to use Mostert. Hope he'll be active against the Chargers. Get some good screen passes to him. So, yeah. We need to get some pass rush earlier in the game, and then in the second half on Herbert. We can't let Herbert stand all day and throw and go pick us apart.
Yep.
If that happens, it'll come down to whoever has the ball last to win the game. But we got to get pass rush on Herbert, and we can force him into some mistakes. Those are my keys to victory. Put pressure on Herbert, continue to stop the run, and open up holes for Genty. And protect Geno Smith.
There you go. Martin, you're done, right?
Know what your thoughts are, and go Raiders. Let's get to 2-0, and we'll be officially back. We win Monday night, we'll be a playoff team.
Whoa, there you go, Martin. Man, I appreciate the call. Thank you so much for that. I can't disagree with anything he said as far as his takes on what the Raiders need to do. They kind of match what I said. and my diatribe about what the Raiders needed to kind of do to make sure that they come out on top in this game tonight against the Chargers. What do you guys think? Again, I'm showing the comments up on the screen too if you're watching us on video. So if you want to drop a comment, tell me what you think. We'll get to our second caller, good friend of ours, longtime caller here at Silver and Black today, and that is Anders out in Oakland, the birthplace of the Raiders.
Hello, fellas. It's Anders from Oakland. Long time. It's been a long time since I called, but I have a couple of quick things. And not talking about the game, actually, or the upcoming game, because I'm sure you got a million calls on that. But I'm a little confused about this Besh thing. Like, why would we spend a second rounder on a slot receiver who clearly needs development and isn't ready to start? He had a few snaps. I get it. He had a catch. I get it. But we kind of have that position covered. Is it that slot guys are just really hard to find? Is he like a generational talent like Bowers? It doesn't seem that way to me. Seems we could have drafted help elsewhere. And if we don't resign Jacoby Myers, we could just draft a slot guy next year. Not sure. I want to hear your thoughts on that. And then secondly, I am really confused about people saying that we overpaid for Pickett. How likely is it that we would have drafted a rock solid backup in the 5th round? We tried one in the 4th round, and I think clearly Pickett is better than O'Connell. And somebody could come in right now and hold down the fort. So to me, giving up a 5 for a proven backup QB makes total sense. Finally, if it doesn't pan out with him, at least I got a chance to say that we have a player combo on our team named Wilson Pickett. Have a good one, guys. Talk to you later. Bye.
Oh, yes. Wilson Pickett. Nice, man. I like that reference. Anders out in Oakland. So, Anders, I think with Jack Besh, they see something they like. Also, I think you have to remember, just because you have one slot receiver doesn't mean that you don't get another one. I mean, the NFL, if you look at what Tampa did, what Seattle did, so you're looking at what John Spytek, you're looking at what Pete Carroll have done, and you're looking also at what successful franchises do, is they're constantly reloading. And you have to look at that. So they see something in Jack Besh. I was confused by it too, but they know better than I do. I mean, they're scouting football more, and they see something they like in him. It also gives you, I think, the ability to build depth and allow a guy to develop. And you don't know what's going to happen with Jacoby Myers. You don't know what's going to happen. Trey Tucker looks great already for this season, but you don't know what's going to happen in the future with him. So you have to kind of hedge your bets. On the Kenny Pickett thing, yeah, we went over that a couple weeks ago. I think people have too much bought into value in draft picks. When you look at where draft picks end up, how many of them end up making NFL teams after 2 years, it's not a big deal. You needed a good, solid backup. He's not a franchise quarterback, Kenny Pickett. He's not a guy who's going to lead you anywhere. He's the guy that comes in if you have an emergency. He is the guy who comes in if your number one gets hurt and can play for a couple weeks, hopefully. So that's all he is. I think people looking too much into the value of draft picks don't understand the numbers and how things work in the draft. So they're entitled to their opinion, but I agree with you, Anders, that it's not that big of a deal. But thank you for the call. Anyway, all right, now we're moving out to Gangster Raider. He's back.
Hey, what's happening? It's Gangster Raider again, reporting from behind enemy lines, kind of from L.A. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to my Raider Riders crew, Gangster Raider from the Raider Riders. And if you're ever in L.A., come party with us, the Raider Riders, at the Melody Bar and Grill on Sepulveda. But the keys to the game are beating the Chargers, because I believe we're going to beat them 34-17.
Wow.
That's my prediction, that Justin Herbert must go down early. You know what I'm saying? He must get hit and go down within the first series or 2 of the game. You know what I'm saying? And he cannot have no a lot of time to operate. He must be accosted in every position, every chance he get. He needs to be made rattled. You know what I'm saying? He needs to be made very uncomfortable in the pocket. And if he tries to run it all, we need Jamal Adams to spy him. And if he try to take off, make him regret making that business decision. Every time he try to run, Jamal Adams needs to punish him. And we need Tyree Wilson and Kuntz to be in his face where he don't have no time to even think about getting any ball. Make him dump down to the secondary or screen passes, period. We must hit him hard in order for us to win. And we must get Ashton Gentry going, you know what I'm saying? Because they fear him to death
because they're going to be trying to stop they're going to be trying to stop Brock Bowers, and then we can hit Gentry, and they fear Thornton too. So we got to have their worst nightmares come true. We got to hit Herbert often and early to take away his confidence, and then the defense must step up, and the offense and Gentry, the offensive line has to open up the space for Gentry so he can punish them like LT used to do us. You know what I'm saying? And the Chargers are scared. I'm telling you, I'm listening to the Charger radio and stuff out here in LA, and they scared to death of this game. We can go in and whoop their butts 34-17. Keep the gangster, y'all gone.
All right, there's Gangster Raider. Good call, man. I can't disagree with any of it. And MDM, our good friend in the chat on YouTube, is saying Gangster channeling his inner Al Davis. I like it. Yes. And you know what? He hit on exactly what I was talking about earlier, and that is physical, physical, physical. You got it. This game is going to come down to who can punch somebody in the nose harder, right? Yes, you got to run the ball. You got to pass. You got to do all the things I talked about being efficient on offense, Geno Smith. But I agree with Gangster Raider. I think you have to rattle Justin Herbert early. You put it in his head early. That psychological piece. If you can do that, that's how it's going to be. And if you can do that, then you get in his head and you get that advantage from the beginning, and then you just carry it on through the game. So I think that's the way to do it. Tell me what you guys think in the chat over there. Appreciate it as always. Gangster Raider for the call. Now we're going to close it out with our good buddy Armando out in Salt Lake, I believe.
Scott and Mo, this is Armando from Salt Lake calling after I listened to your guys' post-game recap with all the callers. And I just wanted to give some quick thoughts because there was a caller that pointed out how Geno Smith reminded him of Rich Gannon. And I wanted to further that because that was the thought that I had too, especially on that 4th and 1 conversion that he threw across his body to Michael Mayer, improvising and making a play like that. I had similar impressions, but I wanted to workshop and kind of, I thought a little bit more about it. And there's flashes of Rich Gannon, especially early on, before all the playoff success. We don't want to put a lot of those, we're not there yet. It's one game. So we don't want to make a lot of those comparisons because Rich Gannon accomplished a lot in his tenure with the Raiders. But I also see a dash of 2016 Derek Carr, that gunslinger mentality, that just, I'm going to ice the game and just zip this through, get it to my player through defenders. And the thing that I felt about Rich, it was the improvisation. But it was also the feeling inside of me where even on that interception, I haven't had a reaction to an interception like that probably since Rich Gannon, where it's just like, we'll get him next time. It didn't feel backbreaking. It was just, okay, an unfortunate play. We'll get him next time. I haven't felt like that in a while. Probably since 2016, Derek Carr, and then before that, Rich Gannon. So really encouraged by that side of the ball. And the other thing that I wanted to bring up that no one's talking about, and probably for good reason, is I haven't heard anybody talk about Christian Wilkins. And that's what good coaches do, guys. They make up for the absence. That was a big storyline in the offseason. Nobody talked about Christian Wilkins. Nobody talked about the absence. Why? Because so many people stepped up in his absence. Thomas Booker had an awesome game. Obviously we know Max Crosby's going to be Max. Tyree Wilson stepped up. Malcolm Kuhn stepped up. The rotation of the defensive tackles was exactly what was needed to fill in that absence. So I just wanted to call that out too. So awesome show as always. It was a highlight of the last 2 days. I broke it up in a couple of days. Awesome job as always, and I look forward to sharing the season with you guys and the rest of the callers. It's really nice, listening while I'm having breakfast or on a walk. So excited for the rest of the season. We'll talk soon, and much love. Go Raiders.
All right, there's Armando in Salt Lake City. Thanks, man. I appreciate it. And you're walking with us. I love it, man. Breakfast, wherever you want to do it. Today we're at lunch because we're live right at the lunch hour on the West Coast. Hey, gotta love it. But thank you for the call there. And yeah, I mean, I get what you're saying there. I think that from a coaching, I think that's what you saw last week. We talk about the halftime adjustments, But even with the quarterback and when things go wrong, because the Raiders will have tough times. They will have tough games, tough plays, tough series, you name it. And you mentioned the Geno Smith interception last week. And it's right. It's a different feel, right? It just feels. I keep saying like grown-ups are in the room, but really it's the experience. You have Pete Carroll. He won a national championship, won a Super Bowl. The guy's been around the block once or twice, right? So I think that it brings a different mentality. And we always, culture is a buzzword now. Everybody talks about culture, culture, culture. And it's true. Culture is important, especially on a football team. But I think with this front office, with this ownership, including Tom Brady, with Pete Carroll as a coach and the coaching staff he has, remember, you look at the fact that they have Patrick Graham back on defense, of course, but then Kelly as your offensive coordinator. Like, these are big time coaches, man. These are not throwaways or guys that have not earned their way in the NFL. So I think that makes a big deal too, when you can see that and you can be ready for anything that comes your way. You don't feel like you're ever going to get defeated because you have so much experience. They know how to say the right thing. You see what Pete Carroll does. You saw the story on Sunday from Rappaport talking about how Pete Carroll shocked the Raiders coming in all animated in during the last game. And it just goes to show you Pete Carroll knows how to get his troops ready. So I think tonight is going to be, I don't know if they'll win. Gangster Raider predicted 34-17. I'll give you my prediction here in a second, but I don't know if it's going to be that big. I think it's going to be hard to score points on both sides because I think these defenses are both going to come and so on. So we'll see how it rolls. But I just did see a Charger fan pop in, Rick H-Town, saying, Charger fan, your team is finally making winning moves and you guys have a great draft under Pete Carroll. Happy for Raiders fans, but my Bolts get the W. Oh, I would expect you to do that as well. But there you go. There's a Charger fan actually giving a nod to the Raiders for actually making good decisions. Yeah, absolutely. You can't help but do that. But Rick in H-Town, thanks for stopping in, man. I appreciate it. MDM, thanks, man. I appreciate it as well. You guys stopping by. All right, so what's going to happen tonight? I think it's going to be relatively low scoring. And I think the Raiders eke it out at home. I think they win. I think it's a late field goal. As much as I hate field goals, I think it's a late field goal. I'm thinking 2017, somewhere around there. And the Raiders win this one because it's a big win for them. They're going on the road again to the East Coast next week to Washington. Now, big news today, and a lot can change between now and Sunday, but it looks like Jaden Daniels has sprained his knee. Now, usually somebody's going to miss a couple games over that at the very least, but you never know. We'll see how bad it is. But the Raiders, if they win this game tonight, could be going to Washington to face a team without Jaden Daniels. Not saying that no game is a given in the NFL ever. I don't care, especially with a team going from West to East Coast for the second time in 3 weeks. But it certainly gives them an opportunity if their top player in Jaden Daniels is not there. So we'll see how it goes. But I got 2017 Raiders. Tough. It's going to be a grind them out game late on the West Coast as well at Allegiant Stadium. Tell me what you guys think as well. We certainly appreciate you joining us for this special live show. If you're watching us on video, if you're listening to us on audio and you missed the live show, go subscribe to the YouTube channel or Rumble or watch for us on X or Facebook or Twitch. We're everywhere. So you can watch us anywhere. And when we have a live video, we always let people know that as well. So make sure you do that. We're going to be back. Mo and I will be back on Thursday. We'll recap the game. If you want to be part of the show, 702-900-7869, 702-900-7869, blah, 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 blah. I'm talking too fast. Do me a favor, though. Write the number down, but don't call in until after the game. Call in after the game or the day after the game. Call in Tuesday, tomorrow, or because we'll probably record on Wednesday or early Thursday. So get your call in tomorrow. Tell me what you think of the result of the game. I want to hear what everybody has to say. 702-900-7869 is the number to get to be part of the Raider Nation Switchboard. All right. I want to also thank and remind you that this video is brought to you by our good friends at Sleeper Picks, where you can play daily fantasy football, and we're giving you $100 to do it. That's right. Go deposit $100 with Sleeper Picks, and we will give you another $100 free. That's right. All you got to do is use the code GENTY, as in Ashton, GENTY for a free $100 match on your first $100 deposit to play daily fantasy at Sleeper Picks. For Mo Moat and for our producer, Mike Robier, I am Scott Gulbransen. This has been a special pregame edition of Silver and Black today. Raiders Chargers tonight. Let's see how it goes, Raider Nation. Have fun, enjoy the game, and we'll talk to you on Thursday.